Idioms are difficult to learn. They are certainly not cut and dried. It can be an uphill battle, but you've come to the right channel. Meaning of the English idiom, cut and dried. When something is cut and dried, it is simple, clear, and unambiguous, fixed and definite, already decided, predictable, and usual. Usage of idiom. Although the actual idiom is cut and dried, native speakers often pronounce it as cut and dry. Examples of use. "Look," said David to the new manager, "the problem is not so cut and dried as you think." "The law is cut and dried," said the lawyer, "but that doesn't mean we don't have a case." "You act like getting elected is cut and dry, but public opinion can change on a dime." Origin of idiom. This idiom was used as early as the late 1700s. The most common explanation for the origin of this idiom is that it alludes to the already cut and dried herbs ready to use and sold in shops as opposed to fresh-growing herbs. Some, however, believe it to allude to cut and dried pieces of wood. Others claim the idiom comes from jerky, where pieces of meat are cut into strips and dried. Grass is also cut and dried to turn into hay to use as fodder for cattle. It is also turned into standard bales or piles, where one looks very much like another. Tobacco as well is cut and dried. There are, in fact, so many items that are processed in this way that it hardly seems necessary to imagine only one specific origin for the expression. And the original meaning had the sense of being ready for use. For example, the powder and shot was ready made up in cartridges, ready cut and dried, and a man had then time to think. Jonathan Swift used a version of the idiom in a 1730 poem about a boring speech. "Sets of phrases cut and dry, evermore thy tongue supply."